Okay, my royal family, I am back and I'm going to work on these next two videos, which is part two of Sheriff Coon Clarke and Roland Martin giving him that work. And I ain't going to say much at this point. I'm just going to let these two videos play out. And the next two videos are a little over 8 minutes. And then I have a few things to say after that.
Was actually choked to death. That was the ruling of the medical examiner. The father of six was being accosted by cops allegedly for selling loose cigarettes. This set off a firestorm in New York. That's the video there. The police officer was not indicted by the Staten Island DA. I want to go back to Sheriff David Clarke, who is my guest right now. Sheriff Clarke, when you testified before Congress and you were asked about that, you said that Eric Garner died because of a pre-existing condition, asthma. But that wasn't true. The actual ruling from the medical examiner was that he died as a result of that particular chokehold. Do you believe that what took place in the Eric Garner death, that was wrongful behavior by New York police officers, how Eric Garner was choked and killed?
No, I don't. Not under the rule of law. But let me correct you on something that you said that just simply is not true. We're really going to deal with facts here.
Okay.
And I know facts can be an uncomfortable thing, but we're going to deal with facts and we're going to deal with myths and propaganda. Eric Garner's death was ruled a homicide. But you know what? That's a manner of death. All right? There's suicide as a manner of death, natural causes, homicide, and then there's unexplained. Okay, those are
But the medical examiner ruled it was a homicide.
He ruled it was a homicide. Right.
But when you were asked under oath by Congress, you said it was because of his asthma.
Died of a heart attack on the way to the hospital. Now, there is no doubt that physical exertion that he had, he was in poor health, that physical exertion did contribute to that heart attack. But that does not mean that the NYPD officers...
Are you a licensed medical professional?
No, I'm not. I'm
okay,
a law enforcement. Are you a licensed
No, because, see, I actually listened to the licensed medical professional. And if the licensed medical professional, the medical examiner, ruled it a homicide, he stated exactly what it is. And so when you said, well, it was because of his asthma, well, that was simply incorrect. It was incorrect.
First of all, I didn't say asthma. He died of a heart attack. Okay. He didn't die of asthma. But those were some of the things that the medical examiner pointed out.
I asked you earlier about this.
Let's talk about...
I asked you earlier about Black Lives Matter. And again, I've listened to numerous interviews.
The map here, and it's very hard to get out any coherent thoughts when you're going to jump all over the map.
No, actually, I'm not. I've been very consistent.
We're talking about Eric Garner, now we're back to Black.
Yes, because...
I still never got out of you a definition of brutality.
Yes, because Black Lives Matter protesters, they were involved in what took place with Eric Garner. And then you also, of course, one of the things that they did, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo...
First of all, sir...
Sheriff Clarke.
When the Eric Garner thing happened, there was no such thing as Black Lives Matter.
Actually, you're wrong, sir. Sheriff Clarke.
It emanated out of Ferguson.
Sheriff Clarke, you're absolutely wrong. Black Lives Matter. Sheriff Clarke, you read off for 3 minutes your bio. Let me give you facts, so you have them. So the next time you go on television, you have it. Sheriff Clarke.
We can both agree on.
Sheriff Clarke. After George Zimmerman was found not guilty of killing Trayvon Martin, Sheriff Clarke,
George Zimmerman.
I am giving you, Sheriff.
Ask your question, though.
Sheriff, I'm giving you factual information.
It's very hard to have a coherent conversation when you're going to jump all over the map.
Sheriff Clarke, allow me to say this.
George Zimmerman was not a police...
Sheriff Clarke, allow me to say this so you... Sheriff,
bring his name up.
He's out. I bring it up because you said Black Lives Matter didn't exist until Ferguson, and you're wrong. In 2013, after George Zimmerman, Sheriff Clarke, can you just 30
Black
seconds?
Lives Matter is an offshoot of the lie of hands up, don't shoot.
Sheriff
So
Clarke.
don't say it existed in Ferguson.
Sheriff Clarke, give me 30 seconds.
Matter did not exist.
Give me 30 seconds.
Ferguson, Missouri.
Sheriff Clarke, give me 30 seconds.
Well, you talk facts.
Sheriff Clarke, I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and that's all it's going to take. Alicia Garza wrote a Facebook post, hashtag Black Lives Matter.
I don't know
What?
Garza
If you
is.
listen, you will have the facts. After George Zimmerman was found not guilty, she wrote a Facebook post using the hashtag Black Lives Matter in 2013. It was at that point where it began to be used. It then, in 2013, then in 14, then in 15. So, factually, you are wrong.
Some hashtag.
But
Someone posts hashtag on their Facebook, and all of a sudden that becomes the standard now,
actually,
right?
but no, that's actually how it
I
started.
never heard Black Lives Matter mentioned during the Ferguson police situation.
Well,
and
that was sir, because
you know what? Everybody had the T-shirts made up of "Hands Up, Don't," which was a lie.
Okay, but Sheriff,
I'm not suggesting nobody ever used the phrase. I'm talking about as a political construct because that's what it is today.
Actually, it evolved.
It did not exist because someone engages in hashtag activism. Well, fine, but that's not proof of anything.
Actually, the proof is there, but that's fine. But let me ask you this question here. And that is this here. When we look at what's happening around this country, we look at the Walter Scott case, where a police officer shot and killed Walter Scott, was charged with murder. He lied on the police report, and he said that he administered first aid when he didn't.
Okay.
Do you believe that, and first of all, that was videotaped. Do you believe that one of the calls of Black Lives Matter, do you believe that every law enforcement agency in America should be required to wear body cameras?
I don't speak for every law enforcement agency in America. I think that there is a use of that technology in the profession of law enforcement, but I'm not going to say what every law enforcement agency should do.
Does your department have widespread?
I'm trying to get to it.
Okay.
You know, it really gets annoying, if you will. If you don't let me, if you don't keep your mouth closed enough long
I was just asking,
does
your sheriff's department have body cameras?
There you go again. Just wait to hear the end of one of my sentences.
Well, but you're filibustering. But do you have body cameras in your police sheriff's department?
There you go again.
Are you going to answer the question?
Talk about the body camera. I'm answering a question.
Okay.
You asked, and then you cut me off in the middle of it. We are in the midst right now, the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, of running a pilot program with the use of body cameras that we will ultimately do a full deployment of. Okay, that was your question.
And what's the pilot program? How many folks are wearing the cameras?
Approximately 50.
About 50, and you have a total number of personnel in your department?
About 300 sworn.
And when do you think, how long is the pilot program?
We don't have a time frame on it.
So it might be 3 months, 6 months, a year?
When I think we have enough data, I don't see it being, I don't know that it'd be a year. We still haven't formed the policy yet. You can't just slap body cameras on people and send them out in the field, okay? It seems it's something that's simple, but there's costs involved, there's policy, there's privacy rights, there's a lot to sift through. And I want to do this right. I don't want to do this half-cocked so that 2 years, 3 years from now, all we end up doing is a trade-off, and we end up with unintended consequences.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sheriff.
I like to take my time, and I like to do things right.
I hope you've seen that study out of Rialto, California, when they used body cameras there, and they showed that it caused a significant drop, more than 70% of complaints against police when it comes to excessive force, but also it dropped the number of times where the officers said they were also attacked, and so it helped the citizens as well as it helped the cops. I'm going to a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about police accountability in America with Sheriff David Clarke right here on News 19 TV1.
Kickstart your day at 7 and get the news you need from the...
Okay, we're going to go on to the next video, which is about the same length of time. And that's 8 minutes and 3 seconds.
He is the sheriff in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. Sheriff, when we look across this country right now, when we hear the phrase protect and serve, that is about police officers protecting, serving its citizens. Yet, when I talk to many officers, they talk about the blue wall, and that is officers protecting and serving themselves. In New York, they instituted a new policy where they require every police officer to report the use of excessive force, and even if you witness it, you have to report it, and if you don't, you face a disciplinary action, including up to termination. When it comes to accountability, is that the kind of policies that are needed to ensure that that citizens do not have their rights violated?
Well, first of all, I don't know what New York has as a policy. That's always been a policy. The Milwaukee Police Department, the city of Milwaukee Police, where I spent 24 years, and it's always been the policy of the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office as long as I've been the sheriff of Milwaukee County. You know, you threw out some names before. You threw out the name of Eric Garner. You talked of George Zimmerman, and you mentioned a few others. You know who Layla Peterson is?
Who's that?
Do you know who Tyshawn Lee is?
I know who Tyshawn Lee is. Do you know who Rakia Boyd is?
Do you know who
Rakia Boyd is?
Do you know who Tony Kester Brown is?
Don't know who Tony Brown is.
Do you know who Elliot McKenzie is?
Don't know. I know who Clarence Brantley is. Clarence Brantley was a man who was actually sent to death row and was within 2 hours of being executed for a crime he didn't commit because prosecutors and a judge actually covered up evidence. That man was almost executed. Here's my whole point, Sheriff. You can name people. Sheriff, you can name people who've been killed.
You haven't heard my main point.
What's your main point?
Names, because you brought those names up, and this is just in relation to the names that you brought up.
Go ahead.
Layla Peterson, a 4-year-old black girl, was shot as she sat on her grandparents' or grandfather's lap when a drive-by shooting occurred and shots were fired into the home.
And I want those individuals arrested and prosecuted.
A 9-year-old, but let me get to the point here, okay?
Go ahead and get to the point.
Sean Lee, a 9-year-old who was lured into an alley by his grandmother home and shot multiple times in a gang type.
And we've covered it on this show.
Okay, I'm not saying you didn't. Jamila Bolden was a 9-year-old girl who was shot and killed in her home, in her grandmother's home, as she sat on the bed doing homework.
Right, and I also hope you add Ayanna Jones, who was shot and killed in bed by a Detroit police officer when his gun went off, but he, of course, was not prosecuted. But go right ahead.
It really was. Anyway, Tony Brown, a 7-year-old, shot in the head.
I got it, Sheriff. But what's your point? I mean, here's my point. I got about 2 minutes, and so you're reading the names.
Good stuff in, though.
And I've covered many of those, but go ahead.
Chance to get some of my points in, okay?
No, but Sheriff, go. First of all,
come back on and we can continue this conversation.
Sheriff, you open up with a 4-minute bio, and you're complaining about not getting your statements out.
Introduce yourself to an audience who may not know anything about.
No, Sheriff, my audience knows a lot about you. You want to make a point about those names there? Go right. What's your point about those names?
Anyway, in this study that I referred to before at the University of Toledo, between 2009 and 2012. 56,259 homicides occurred.
Yep.
19,000 plus were the killings of black males. That's 33.8%.
Gotcha.
You asked me before about the white representation in the population. If the black representation in the population in the U.S. is at 13%, we are way overrepresented in terms of being homicide victims, correct?
Yes.
And would you agree that it is true that most of these criminal homicides, and I'm going to say it's around 93% because that's what this study says, were committed on black individuals by black individuals?
And in fact, and also according to Vox.com, 84% of whites who have been killed were killed by whites. Because the reality is when people are killed, it's largely where you live. So blacks kill blacks, white kills whites.
But that talking point doesn't hold any water.
No, it's a fact.
Talking about whites.
It's a fact.
What we're talking about here is that blacks are overrepresented as homicide victims.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Why are we not talking about that?
But no, sir, that's where you're wrong. See, I need you to understand something, okay? This is a black show on a black network, which we talk about 5 days a week.
Talking about the black
because
radio show.
because Sheriff Clarke, because Sheriff Clarke, Sheriff Clarke. No.
It's the elephant in the room.
No, Sheriff.
And it dismissed.
Sheriff, first of all, there's no elephant in this room because you know what? We deal with it. The reason we discuss these other issues is because you, sir, when you have gone on Fox and CNN, you've spoken
6,000 homicides between 2009 and 2012. 2.5% were the result of issues of force.
Sheriff Clarke, this is very simple. Sheriff Clarke, this is very simple. You've been on Fox News. Sheriff Clarke, you've been on Fox News.
For good in the United States of America, here's what they would be protesting. They would be protesting the fact that in this economy, blacks can't find meaningful work.
And they are. Wait a minute, hold on. Sheriff Clarke, they are. If you go to Sheriff Clarke, if you go to campaignzero.org, they are. Sheriff Clarke.
2% black male unemployment.
Sheriff Clarke.
That's obscene.
Sheriff Clarke, and they are. Sheriff Clarke, here's the deal.
It's about 13-14%.
Sheriff Clarke, the reality is here. They are talking about those issues.
Black Lives Matter would be protesting if they really
be a
force for good.
They are.
Protesting the fact that black kids have to be shackled to failing K-12
they are.
schools throughout the United
States. Do you know that DeRay McKesson, who is one of the leaders, is a Teach for America graduate? Do you know that Brittany Packney is a Teach? See, Sheriff.
Voice program.
Sheriff.
And in the voucher program.
Sheriff.
For those parents who want their kids to break out of this
Sheriff Clarke.
Sheriff Clarke. Potential to reach their
Sheriff Clarke.
Given potential.
Sheriff Clarke, let me help you with something. Sheriff Clarke, this is real simple. First of all, I'm out of time. I got to tell you this here. You got leaders of Black Lives Matter who are former teachers, who are current teachers. What you're talking about, they're actually doing. So here's what I suggest. I suggest
the nation's report card.
You know what? I will be happy to set up a meeting with you and them so you can actually hear.
Is widening.
Sheriff Clarke, you're talking to a school choice supporter. Okay. Sheriff,
scores are still near the
Sheriff, here's the deal.
Working on it.
Sheriff,
working on the failure or what?
Sheriff, you're talking to a school choice supporter, somebody who believes in vouchers and charter schools and traditional schools. So you got the wrong one here. Look, we'll schedule another interview. We'll certainly have you back on the show. Thanks for joining us. We're simply out of time. Thank you so very much.
Okay. Let me go back up here so you can look at this idiot's face. Okay. This man is fully deranged. And the reason why he was over talking Roland Martin is because he's used to having his way when he goes to Fox News. Now, when he came out highly disrespectful. He thought he was going to control the narrative. And see, one thing that I like about Roland Martin is he'll challenge people to come on his format and have a face-to-face. So he challenged this super coon, and his mindset and his attitude was, I'm gonna go down here to this nigger station and I'm gonna set them straight because I'm highly intelligent and I'm gifted. And when he could not get his way, he just going on and on and on and on and on. And then another thing he did, because I like this about Roland Martin makes sure he do his research and he retains information very well. And so when he's talking to the super coons or them Sallies that I put up the other day, they not prepared for him. They not ready. They think they're more smarter because when the other platforms that they're on, them people have low intelligence. As simple as that. So what this super coon did was he was sitting up there grasping for information, and then he just started throwing out names like he cared that a black child got shot. This coon don't give a damn about black people at all. He is deranged. He is deranged. He is very deranged. I have seen some coons in my day, but ain't nobody top this coon. And his cooning is sickening to the people that he is doing the bidding for. You can't shut him up. This guy has some deep, highly deep mental health issues. And I said that I was able to detect that he has marital problems at home because he's whiny. You have to really listen to this video close, because the longer you talk to him, you start to see his weaknesses. See, one thing that I pride myself on, no, I ain't gonna say pride, because pride is being proud, and proud we shouldn't even use in our vocabulary. We can, remain humble, because when you become proud, it can lead to being arrogant, and I'm not an arrogant individual. I'm humble. One thing that God blessed me with was insight and war strategies, and you pay attention to people's body language, you listen to what they have to say, all of that. And one thing about this super coon, let him keep talking when he's not on a platform where he can control it, and you slowly start seeing his weaknesses. He hides behind that uniform, that desk, and all that kind of stuff with his tight ass. Keep talking to him, he'll crumble. This dude would start breaking down crying. He'll get violent with you because you're getting up in his space, because he's always been in situations where he can control the narrative, or he has free range to do his buck dancing. He's sickening. That person right there is extremely dangerous to the royal family. It's no need to interact with him or anything. You just act like he ain't there. And I look for the day when he get his nigga moment. He ain't gonna have nobody stand with him at all, because he gonna overstep so hard that he gonna piss off the people that he do his bidding for. Because one thing that I picked up on also about him, he is taking on these talking points like you hear a lot of white guys use when they interacting with each other privately. So he think he is them. Another thing, I think Mr. Superboy mentioned it, and he was right. You see his beard. Look at his beard now. Is because this I was looked this up. This video was done. This interview was done. What I checked was, I think it was done last year, December. Okay, and in that short period of time, his beard is totally black now. Because when he was up speaking at that KKK convention that's on TV now, it is totally black. And so yeah, Mr. Superboy said he was dark and love. He used some dark and lovely to darken that stuff up. That tickled me when I heard that. I said, you know what, he is right, because that sucker is black. I mean black. And if anybody take the time to look at him when he's speaking on that platform, he was having an outer body experience. You could look in his eyes. I mean, he was just gleeful that he was able to get on that platform and perform for his white daddy and mommy. I mean, he was gleeful. He was in his glory. Take him off that platform. Get him somewhere where he can't control the narrative, and let him keep talking and start just throwing words at him. He kind of remind me of George Bush #2. George Bush #2, he was the type of person, when you start asking him a lot of questions, he would get very defensive, And there was a couple of times when I would see George Bush #2, I said, they keep talking to this retard. He is going to get down there and pull up his sleeves and start fighting. Because these type of people, they're very controlling, and they set up props, and they're used to talking over people and everything, and he's very weak, and he's very inadequate. This guy, he doesn't live a good life. He's not happy, you know, and he's always worried about his appearance too. So you can imagine when he put on that monkey suit. I mean, he makes sure everything is polished and right and everything like that. And then also look at them false teeth he got and that dent in his head. You know, maybe that's how it happened. But you know, I did some research and I can't find any family members. I don't even think he has children. I see his wife, and naturally his wife is white, and he ain't happy at home. Just pay attention, my royal family. One thing that I really like about our royal family, when we had to survive slavery, what happened to us was, when we were talking amongst ourselves, we would talk in one manner in a particular diction. And then when these white folks would come around us, and the slave master and the overseer, we would talk down. And the reason why we would do that, we had enough insight to know their mentality and know how deranged they continue to be in order to survive. That's why we were talking that way. We had that insight that we was dealing with some highly deranged people, and we still have it. And the one thing that I want the royal family to start doing is start employing that our other family members that reject themselves and feel like they have to act in a manner that this society want us to act, and say, see, that's the why we killing them, and that's the why we locking them up, because we giving them what they want. No, when you show intelligence and conduct yourself in a way to, and when you conduct yourself in this way, it's not to appease them. You're not doing that for that. That's what coons do when they act like this. We're doing this for the Most High, to show respect to our Father, that we have self-respect. And when we give society what they want so they can continue to keep doing to us, that's a form of rejecting ourselves and rejecting our blessings. That's what I'm talking about when we say things about, I'm not special. You are special. Just don't be arrogant. Always be humble. You know, God wants soldiers. And don't get drunk on yourselves. That's why people that are close to me, I will say to them, if I'm slipping out of order, I give people permission very close to me to tighten my ass up. I mean that, because I can get out there sometimes. I'm a very passionate person, and we need to set this within the royal family. Say, hey, you know, I love you, and I know you love me, and I got these things within me too, where I need somebody that love me to point out when I'm maybe being rude or disrespectful or just doing too much. Like you say, we have several seats. I cuss too much. I need to not cuss so much. I know better. And I'm working on it. But I'm gonna always be true to my nature. But I can clean up my language. Because I'll listen back to these videos and I'll say to myself, Kim, you didn't have to say that. I'm not ashamed of myself, but I need to work on myself. And there's other things that I need to do to work on me. So doing these videos, I do it for the royal family, but I do it for me, and I look at me and I see where I need to improve myself so I can represent the royal family in a better fashion. Because when I go out in that world, I'm representing us. And I don't spend my life running around here just every other word that come out of my mouth is just cuss words. I am, it's like when I listen to myself sometimes, I say, you know what, you're too intelligent for that, and you're too wise for that. And I don't blame that on the system. I talk about how the system has affected us, but then we personally have to take responsibilities for our shortcomings. And that's private amongst the royal family and to God. Say, Father, I need to work on me on these things, and whatever it be. And you don't even have to have these discussions with the royal family. It can just be between you and God. We all have things to improve upon, and do a self-assessment. So, I was thinking about that. I said, my mouth is filthy, and I'm gonna work on it, my royal family. I'm gonna work on it, but I'm gonna always be true to my nature. And I want to improve too. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because when you look at a person like this coon here, he don't think anything's wrong with him himself. He really don't. He think he's right. And he don't see where he needs to improve anywhere in his life. He felt this guy's growth has stopped once he got that position, and once he was able to be amongst these white folks that can't stand us. Because as usual, I'm gonna say, not the all, there are good white people out here, but in this white supremacist system, the good ones, they are in danger too if they try to speak out on people of color's behalf too. So I understand their situation too. I don't worry about it too much, but this guy basically is saying, I have arrived, and he has no more growth. And the way things are supposed to work, as long as you is breathing, you're always striving to improve, to grow on a mental level and strengthen that muscle. That brain is a muscle. Use it. He don't use that muscle. He uses it in a very deranged way. And I want to always improve. And it's like if somebody have like a diary and they started writing stuff down in their 20s and look like 20 or 30 years later, and you'll see your growth. And so my diary is these videos, and I can see where I need to grow at. My mouth is filthy. I need to get that better. Also, anybody that's new to my YouTube channel, I'm highly dyslexic. I get words twisted and mixed up, and I don't cut anything because I'm just going to be my authentic self. Like I said, I'm going to speak core truth, and it's helping me to improve myself. And I throw that out there because there's other people that are dyslexic, and I want to encourage anybody that is, or whatever their issues may be, to put a channel up. Let people know this is me. This is who I am. I get words twisted up and everything, and I encourage people in the royal family to correct me. It helps me. There's been times I put up titles and I'll misspell it. My son will point it out, and I'm eternally grateful. I'm eternally grateful because I don't use spell check because I want to strive and learn. Another thing before I get off of here, just to let you know about myself, I couldn't read until I was in the 5th grade, fully comprehend my reading. And I have never stopped reading. I read the labels on on cans and food boxes. I'll read everything in the newspaper. I'm reading. I have tons of books, and I think I'm reading like 7 different books, and I'm just gobbling up information. I'm an information gatherer. I love reading. I love researching, my royal family. Don't stop your growth. Don't be like this coon here and think you have arrived, and you're getting your approval from evil people. No, you want to get your validation from God and God only. That is it, and that is all, my royal family. I employ that to all of us, and also our royal babies, because like I said, the thing that they say about us is, if you don't want a unquote nigga to learn anything, put it in a book. That's what they say about us, like we don't do our reading and researching. And you see, a lot of these coons don't. They just up here speaking on emotions and feelings and neck popping and eye rolling and whatever their thing is, and that's deflection. I'm not going to deflect. I'm a work in progress. So with that said, my royal family, thank you for your full support. Thank you to the new subscribers. And I'll keep y'all informed about what's going on with me and Miss K investigation as soon as we get some more information back. There is some interesting things that's going on, and that's about it. I'm not going to say anything else, but it's surprising what's going on. And once everything is complete with the investigation, I'm going to read it to the royal family, and I'm just going to leave it wide open so y'all know what's going on. So I thank everyone for supporting me. I thank you, Queen Ajali, for putting up my videos, and even with my filthy mouth. I love you, my queen. Ashe.